Now, by the time you hear what these women were really up to, you may never look at history the same ever again because we're going to go back to the drawing rooms and we're going to begin with a woman whose influence stretched far beyond the walls of her Massachusetts home. From Braintree all the way to Philadelphia and then even all the way to Paris, we are beginning today's story with Abigail Adams. Now, Abigail, she did not hold office, she did not sign the Declaration of Independence, and she never commanded a crowd. Yet, very few people in all of history helped shape the revolution more consistently or more intimately than did she. She was first and foremost brilliant, and she was denied a formal education because she was a woman, but she took it upon herself to go ahead and get educated anyway. She read voraciously. She was really into history, philosophy, law, political theory. She absorbed the Enlightenment. If you go watch the Freemasonry videos, they talk about Enlightenment a lot, and that's the Enlightenment that we're talking about. She absorbed that, not necessarily as an abstraction, but more as a framework for living day to day. Her letters to her husband actually reveal a mind that was very incisive. She loved irony and she was utterly unwilling to be dismissed. Now, John Adams, he was not writing to his wife to escape the world of politics. He actually wrote to her often to understand it better, which is very impressive on Abigail's part. Their correspondence actually spanned decades, and they became one of the most intellectually alive partnerships of the era. Now, while John was debating independence in Congress, Abigail was at home and she was managing the household, managing the finances, she was raising the children, and she analyzed a lot of the political currents that were swirling around her. And she did so oftentimes a lot more clearly than the men in the chamber. Now, in March of 1776, as John was sitting in Philadelphia helping to decide the fate of the colonies, Abigail wrote the line that would echo through history. This line being, "Remember the ladies." Now, this was not a polite suggestion, this was more of a warning. She urged her husband to consider how laws might affect women because she was trying to caution him that power in the hands of men would actually mirror the direct tyranny that they were resisting. If the new nation were to replace one form of unchecked authority with another, she argued often that the revolution would be far from complete. Now, John's response to this was very teasing. It was slightly dismissive, but it revealed quite a lot. He joked about the despotism of the petticoat. Now, I want to just let you know because I had to Google the meaning of the word despotism. It's not something that I've heard in modern language ever, but despotism is the exercise of absolute power, especially in a cruel and or oppressive way. So even in jest, he acknowledged the threat posed to complacency. Now, Abigail wasn't asking for the vote, she was just demanding accountability. And that was only the most famous moment. Throughout the war, Abigail was John's eyes and ears back home. She was reporting on a lot of shortages, on morale, on local unrest, and shifting political loyalties because people were a bit wishy washy then. They were wishy washy before then, and they're wishy washy now. And we know this. So when British forces were threatening Massachusetts coast, she was actually giving John a full report from her own doorstep, which is insane. Can you even imagine being like, "Oh, it's a lovely evening. Oh my God, what is that? I can hear it from my porch." She was just over there writing down little letters like, "Oh my God, I think something exploded." I just assumed that I would be like hiding under a table somewhere. I would be so scared of everything. Anyway, I just want you to know that these were not exactly sentimental letters, "Come home, my sweetheart, I miss you." These were intelligence briefings. Her insights really, really mattered. John Adams really did trust her judgment on a deep and personal level. And when he worried about public opinion, she reported how people were reacting on ground zero, level one. She was like, "Oh my God, I heard them in the supermarket." Did they have supermarkets back then? No, definitely not a supermarket. They had general stores, I would think. That's going to be something we're going to look into when we're stores a thing. Anyway, I'm just making the point that she was looking out for her husband and she was reporting back to him often. So when he questioned certain alliances or policies, she offered him very unfiltered analysis of what she truly thought, and she did not hold back. She challenged his assumptions all the time. She sharpened his arguments and she reminded him that ideology meant little if it collapsed under human cost. So later, when John was sent abroad as a diplomat, first to the Netherlands and then later to France, Abigail actually joined him. And she quickly proved herself to be very indispensable because she got in there and she did something. She navigated European courts like she was born to it. I mean, just perfect discipline, great perception. She was sharp, you guys, sharp. She was really taking it upon herself to observe how these foreign elites really viewed the American experiment. She really understood social dynamics. She caught on to subtle slights really, really quickly and all these unspoken hierarchies that were just swirling around. And these were intelligences that rarely appeared in formal dispatches, but they influenced how John approached negotiations quite drastically. So in Paris, she watched the French monarchy with a skeptical eye and very quickly noted the gulf between aristocratic luxury and public hardship. And this was years before the revolution over there actually erupted. And these observations actually ended up shaping the Adams family's very famous caution of French politics and French alliances. Now, Abigail Adams, she was not somebody that was over there just whispering from the margins. She advised, she criticized, she interpreted power, and she did so from a position denied formal authority. She was using intellect, she was using correspondence, and relentless clarity to insert herself into the political bloodstream of the revolution. She was going to make her voice heard. Really, if the American Foundation was more of a conversation and not necessarily a decree, she was not listening from the other room. She was sitting there right at the table with them with her pen in hand, and she was helping shape the argument. And she was really only the beginning because Abigail Adams was not alone in her brilliance. There were many women like her.